We are preparing for our friends to come here tonight, and right now what I'm about to do is make some pizza dough. And I know this isn't like the usual vlog, but this is what's happening today. So today's 20 minutes will consist of making a delicious pizza dough from scratch. So this is the Polish. This I let sit and ferment for 24 hours. Smells really nice. Then I have 1,250 grams of bread flour. Typically I mix half flour, half bread flour, or I try to use 0-0 for the whole thing, but 0-0 is hard to come by in Canada. Now, this is gonna make it a little bit more like dense of a pizza dough, which is fine. I'm going for a New York style. We can make it nice and crispy on the crust with this, and it'll be like a little bit more dense, the whole entire pizza dough. But if you could do 50-50, for me, it makes a nice dough. So this 1,250 grams. I have 700 liters of room temperature water in here right now, filtered, and then 40 grams of salt that will add into it as well. Now, what you do is you take this Polish. This Polish was made from 300 milliliters of water, 300 grams of flour, and activated yeast with like a little less than a scoop of honey to activate that yeast and get it going. So what you do is you take this Polish that is risen very nicely, has tons of little bubbles in it. You can tell that it's ready to go. The best thing you can do is let this sit on the counter for 1 hour before putting it in the fridge. So we're gonna put all this into the water. Then then you mix it. You basically like paint it in there. Once it's all broken up, like for the most part, it doesn't have to be perfectly broken up, but you want it to be like kind of a Polish colored or flour colored water is what it's going to kind of look like when you're done. I'm trying to get all of it out. That's good enough. So basically you're just going to paint it in here, getting it to break up, and this is your activated yeast, basically, that is fermented and will give the dough its flavor. This recipe makes, if you're making small pizzas, like 100 gram pizzas, it will make 10 of them. I think it's 100 grams, but I'm gonna make 16-inch pizzas, and I'm gonna do about 450 grams for each one, and that's gonna give me about 5 pizza doughs, somewhere around there, all being about the same size. So what happens now is this pizza, what's so great about it is since we're cooking it later today, this pizza is ready in 2 hours. You can start cooking them in 2 hours. You do want the dough to be at room temperature for being able to pull it apart nicely, for it to be able to be rounded in the right way where you're not having, you know, thinner spots than other. You want that, the best thing to get stretched the dough properly is to get it to room temperature. So yeah, I'm gonna let it just sit on the counter pretty much covered. So that way the dough doesn't harden at all, with a little bit of olive oil on it. And that will keep the dough fresh for when we're getting ready to actually stretch the dough. And to be able to cook this pizza inside in the oven, our oven here goes to 550 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a pretty good temperature, pretty high temperature for an oven. A lot of them will go to about 500. But what you want to do is you want to take your pizza stone or your pizza steel, depending on what you have, and you want to stick that in your oven while it's at temperature for about 45 minutes to an hour. Once that stone has grabbed all the heat from the oven itself, then you're ready to cook your dough. What I like to do is I like to pre-bake my doughs. Yeah, so this is about what you want it to look like. A little bit bubbly. When you go like this, you're not going to have a lot to grab, but there might be some chunks of Polish in there, which is fine. Doesn't matter. It's all going to wind up mixing into the dough itself. So yeah, this is about where you want it to be. today the air quality is so poor outside that the fires from like northern Ontario, you can't see the sun right now, but the fires from northern Ontario are pushing its winds, northwestern Ontario pushing its winds kind of across here. So we're gonna have a day of bad air quality. It should kind of be gone by about like 2-3 o'clock is my guess, which is perfect timing because that's when I'm gonna go pick up Mathers on the Map, which is Kevin and Taye and their 2 kids and her mother. And we're gonna have them over for dinner. So the pizza is actually gonna be the appetizer for everybody. So now what you do is you take about half of this and you put it in and you mix it. So it's probably about 750 grams right there, something like that. You mix it. Just getting all the dough kind of wet. All the dry flour wet. And when you do the first half, you're still gonna have a fair amount of water in there to be able to do the second half. You could add it slowly, but what I like to do is when you're halfway through this, or how I've learned is when this is kind of broken up and mixed in, you take your salt and you add it. So that way it kind of is mixed evenly throughout the whole entire dough. If you were doing this in a machine, you would just add the salt as you go because the machine mixes it a lot faster than I would here. That looks about right. So it's just like a little bit of stirring, a little bit of mixing here, a little bit of mixing there, just getting everything to kind of blend together. And then the dough is going to just sit for a while. So I think it's 30 minutes. I'll have to look at the video. I watched this guy, I want to say his name is Vincent. He's an Italian guy he's from Italy. And he does his pizza dough on YouTube. He's very, very well known on YouTube. His videos have millions of views from people like me who watch it over and over. Every time I basically make this dough, I watch this video. And it's really helped me learn a really good process on making a Napoli-styled crust. But what I do is I make the Napoli-style crust into a New York-style pizza, and I find it to be very delicious, and everybody at the house really, really likes it as well. So it's been very successful for me. My buddy uses the Dough Guy's pizza dough recipe, which is also a really good one. I did it once before. I didn't like how it turned out as much as I enjoyed this one, but I've also done this one a lot more than his dough. So I'm pretty well versed when it comes to this one, but not as much with the other one. The difference is the other one sits for 72 hours in the fridge, and then you take it out 5 hours or so before you're gonna cook it, where this one is next day. So it's a little less time consuming when it comes to wait time. But this is more time consuming in the sense of you have to kind of do it twice, let it sit. You have a few more steps with this one, where the other one is kind of like you mix, you wait 72 hours, and your dough is ready. So that's the difference between the two, in my opinion. I rather the little extra steps for the, what I feel, what I taste is so far a better dough that I've perfected. And by perfected, I mean like I'm still learning. So you're going to get this to about like a shaggy point. This takes about 20 minutes or so to do the whole dough. But basically, you're going to get it to like a shaggy point like it is now. And then we're going to dump it on this table here. Make sure your surface is clean and ready. And then I'm also going to grab, I think it's in this drawer, this guy here to help me kind of fold it and pull it and whatnot. You're going to have some stuff left behind here, which you want to kind of scrape out and put it on top of the dough. I'm gonna have to use the scraper for that on my hands. All right. So like you want to kind of get a lot of the stuff out of the bowl because you're going to reuse this bowl. This bowl is going to get a little bit of olive oil in it. And then you're just going to stick everything down. When you're done, you're going to put the bowl over the top of it, let it sit for, I think it's 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. And then you're going to put it back in the bowl with some olive oil. And it will kind of just, the word I'm looking for is it will kind of like become softer, like less rigid, while it just sits there and builds itself together, because I think it's live, you know, like activated yeast makes the bread kind of alive. So we're going to take this and just kind of fold it into itself. Lost a big chunk there. Yeah, basically this is all you're doing is taking the dough and just pushing it into itself over and over. Grabbing a lot of the flour and putting it back in so that way it could make its way back into the wet dough inside in the middle there. So I'm just gonna start using my hands. I find it a little bit easier to use my hands. And then every once in a while, I'll take the scraper and kind of drop the existing flour onto the wet spots, because there's quite a few like wet spots inside the dough when you press it. And you're just incorporating it into itself. And this is going to bond together to make a beautiful dough. I think you're also kind of trapping air into it. There we go. Yeah. Grab this side over here because this side looks like it needs to get folded in. You just keep doing this process until you have a nice dough set up here. I don't know the timing on this because it varies for everybody. It's always a little different for everybody. But until you have like a nice, decent looking dough, you want to kind of get all that dry flour incorporated is really the task at hand. Is you don't want any dry flour in there because that becomes kind of clumps in your dough. So if you get it in there and it gets wet with the rest of the dough, it kind of becomes nice wet dough with everything else. There we go. She's starting to look pretty good. Kind of shape her a little bit. Really gets all over you though. Yeah, she's getting real close. Maybe another one, two of these and she'll be fully incorporated. All right. Yeah, there we go. Let's get that folded in. The nice part is like when you do go to wash your hands after, always wash your hands before too. When you go to wash your hands after, all this dough just kind of falls off. It becomes almost like a gluey paste and falls apart. Get that in there. kind of wild to see it like kind of move itself. Okay, let's get this off the hands as much as possible. And that's basically the gist of it. You get it to this point. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that bowl and we're gonna cover it with the bowl. I'll give you guys a look once I wash my hands on what it kind of looks like when you get to this point. Okay. Take your bowl. Oh, hold on. Before I do that, let me show you what it looks like. I can't really pick you up right now because my hands are just full of dough. Sticky, icky dough. It's almost like a, when you do the face mask, but for your hands. This all just kind of dissolves off the hands when you run water over it. And that's one of the reasons why you can't use too much water in your dough. Because if you do, it will just disintegrate. There's a whole bunch of different pizza dough recipes online, so you find the one that's your favorite. I will link this one in the description of the video just so you guys can go check out how I do it. Like I said, it's a little bit labor intensive, but that's basically how your dough should kind of look when you're done doing this process. And then you take the bowl and you just flop the bowl over the top, and we'll double check the timer for it. So where's my phone? It does get a little bit messy too, so be prepared to have to clean your kitchen after. Both after you do the dough and then also when you're finished with the whole cooking of the pizza. Flour kind of gets everywhere, you know? And so when you throw your dough and you have flour down on the table and all this stuff, it just gets a bit messy. So let's see. Yep. Here
is to make it all smooth and nicely. But right now it's sticky. So what we do, simply don't do
anything.
Just leave the dough resting for 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Cover up.
So we just covered it.
So let's wait 15 minutes.
So now we put on our clock and we go alarm, 15 minutes. So in 15 minutes, we'll pull this off and we'll do the next step. Oh man, I got dough literally on my big toe. All right, let's get this area cleaned up a little bit. Let's get the floor cleaned up. Let's take care of, the house. Right now, Alex's parents are not home. They actually hit us up early in the morning. We're like, hey, please come and use our house because the air quality is so poor outside that we want you guys safe. We couldn't really tell in the morning how bad the smoke was until we opened up our windows. Well, we didn't open the windows, but we just looked out the windows. But across the bay, you could barely see it. You could see the haze all out here. This is all smoke. And so it is really, really poor air quality at the moment. And I do have to take a boat across the bay to go pick up our friends. But by the time I take the boat across the bay, the air quality should be much, much better at that point. Yeah.
You can't eat it.
What's up, kids?
The couch is dirty. You can't eat it on the couch.
Can I eat it?
You can eat it, but not at the couch.
What are you trying to eat?
She wants to eat this melted freezy.
Oh, that was in her bag.
You can't eat it at the couch. You have to sit at the table.
Well, it's been 20 minutes. Time to clean up and take care of Everly. I'll see you tomorrow.